Hey everybody, Fallout here. Bungie has dropped another info-filled TWID before the Edge of Fate, mostly going over a lot of sandbox changes, armor changes, stuff like that. So let's dive right in. New armor for a new beginning. Armor 1.0 laid the groundwork, Armor 2.0 built upon it with more perks and flair, and Armor 3.0 adds a whole new layer that will allow more build crafting opportunities than ever before. Here to talk about that is our D2 armor team. It's been a while since our core armor system received a refresh, hasn't it? Armor 2.0 has been with us since the release of Shadowkeep, that's a long time, and has been iterated upon with each release since. From the introduction of stasis, aspects, and fragments to the release of the Prismatic subclass, it's held strong as the world changed around it. It's about time we gave it a well-earned refresh. With the release of the Edge of Fate, any new armor released will use the Armor 3.0 system. Don't worry, the armor rolls you already have won't change. They will just have their stats moved over one-to-one as described a couple weeks ago. While the system was featured in the developer insight video linked above, here is a quick overview of how things will work. Set bonuses. Think of set bonuses like an origin trait for armor, a reflection of that armor's theme that you can fold into the way your build plays. Set bonuses are perks granted when you equip 2 and 4 pieces of armor from the same set. This allows you to either blend 2 separate sets or commit to 2 bonuses from the same set. Each bonus has been built with both approaches in mind, and we're looking forward to seeing what you creative guardians manage to put together with those new tools. The benefits that set bonuses provide cover a pretty wide range of options, from brand new effects to more familiar tools in a new package. We've included a pair of examples below, and we've got quite a few more in store at launch. So if you'd prefer something better suited for staying in the fight, or for crucible dueling, there will be plenty of new toys to pick from. Aeon Renewal. Force Converter. After a final blow with missiles, rocket launchers, and grenade launchers, sprint for a short time to gain speed booster. That is the 2-piece perk. Here's the 4-piece perk. Reactive Booster. Once per activation of Anomalous Servos, sprinting while at critical health, being suspended, or being slowed by a stasis effect will immediately grant speed booster for a short duration. TechSec Wrecker. You deal significantly increased kinetic damage to overshields, combatant shields, and constructs. And the 4-piece perk, Concussive Rounds. Defeating powerful combatants or breaking a combatant shield with kinetic damage releases a disorienting kinetic shockwave. Armor archetypes. One of the major focuses for us when redesigning how armor works in the Edge of Fate was clarity. Not only do these changes help newer guardians acclimate to more complex build crafting, but they also help experienced players quickly evaluate individual armor drops and decide what is the best fit for their build. Armor archetypes are a key part of that effort. Each Armor 3.0 drop has a randomly selected armor archetype. Each of the 6 available archetypes are themed around a specific playstyle and determine the 2 highest stats on each piece of armor. Each piece of armor will also roll with a tertiary or lowest stat randomly selected from the remaining 4 stats. The primary highest and secondary second highest stats determined by your archetype make armor reliably spiky. We've also updated the Armorer Ghost mods to increase the odds of a specific archetype dropping to make seeking out the best armor for you easier. Overall, we found the system makes it much easier to earn armor where its stats are landing where you need them to be rather than in the stats you don't want for the build. Paragon, super primary, melee secondary. Grenadier, grenade primary, super secondary. Specialist, class primary, weapon secondary. Brawler, melee primary, health secondary. Bulwark, health primary, class secondary. Gunner, weapon primary, grenade secondary. Masterworking. With all the new and shiny armor set bonuses to try out, we wanted to make sure that it was easy to try out a new piece of armor. So we've updated the Masterwork system for any Armor 3.0 drop. All Armor 3.0 drops will have their maximum armor energy available regardless of Masterwork level. Masterworking armor no longer increases all stats. The amount granted by the primary, secondary, and tertiary stats rolled will not change with the exception of armor mods. Masterworking now increases your lowest 3 stats on that piece of armor by +1 with each level. This has a maximum of +5 in each or +15 stats total. Gear tiers. A piece of gear's tier represents its quality and strength compared to other legendary drops. For example, higher tier weapons can drop with enhanced perks, special weapon mods, and at tier 5, unique visual effects. For armor, this primarily influences the total stats of each piece of gear. However, tiers 4 and 5 have a couple extra bonuses, an extra mod, energy going to 11 at tier 4 and a randomly selected tuned stat at tier 5. Tier 5 armor will also always drop with a perfect stat roll of 30 in its primary stat, 25 in the secondary stat, and 20 in the tertiary stat. Here's the chart that Bungie shares in the TWID. As you can see, for tier 5, the ceiling will be 90, essentially guaranteed. Armor with a tuned stat has access to a tuning mod slot, allowing you to choose between moving 5 stats from any other stat to your tuned stat or balanced tuning, which increases the armor's 3 lowest stats by 1. With all these changes, you might think that your current armor just won't cut it anymore, but that is not the case. Legacy gear will still be useful and a great on-ramp into the new system. We'll have more information on how to earn higher gear tiers, especially on weapon tiers and more, in an upcoming article. We also took a look at seasonal gear and refactored it into new gear to provide focus for build crafting throughout the game's various activities. New gear can offer more lethality in PvE content, drop with seasonal bonus power, and receive bonuses from the current seasonal artifact. It is easily identifiable with a unique colored border and icon background so that you'll always be able to find it. Specific weapons will also be considered new gear. There will be an exclusive PvP playlist where players must use new gear to face off against each other, with the intention being to create a more even playing field for newer players and to test out builds for those who want to experiment. New gear will include a 10% bonus for weapon damage and a 15% bonus for damage resistance. These bounties will not apply to PvP or the contest mode of the upcoming raid. Side note, that is really big. Get your PvE god rolls right now, people, but we'll have additional information at a later date on how the system works, what gear qualifies, and more. Exotic armor. Long term, we hope to eventually add support for exotics to access the benefits of higher tiers using a dedicated system that reflects their nature as a unique centerpiece in your builds. Although this system won't be ready for the Year of Prophecy, we wanted to make sure that exotic armor could benefit from armor archetypes and the reworked masterworking system. While your existing roles will be converted 1-to-1 to the new stats, new drops of exotic armor will be upgraded to Armor 3.0. This means they'll have their stats determined by archetypes, receive the new masterworking system, and drop with full mod energy by default. While these drops will not have a specific gear tier, their stats will roll as if they were tier 2, aka 58 to 63 total stats. Once masterworked, this should be comparable to all but the very best Armor 2.0 rolls. To make this transition a little easier, Ada 1 will be offering 20 free focused exotic armors per account to anyone who has tower access prior to the release of the Edge of Fate. This special focusing will be available throughout the Year of Prophecy and will allow you to focus any non-class item exotic from the final shape or before with an archetype of your choice, as long as you have it unlocked in collections. As for the exotic class items, they are the only armor from before the Edge of Fate that will be converted fully into the new system. Each one will receive the maximum stats available for an exotic, 30 in the primary stat, 20 in the secondary stat, and 13 in the tertiary stat. To prevent this from massively increasing the number of possible class item rolls, these stats will be assigned based on their rolled perks, the archetype being determined by the left column perk and the tertiary stat being determined by the right column perk. However, this does mean that they can no longer be upgraded to Artifice armor and will lose any existing Artifice mod slot. Let's talk about gear swapping. Oh boy. We want to highlight one specific change we're making to a specific Warlock exotic chest armor come July 15th that we missed in last week's TWID. For those who aren't too deep in build crafting, many Guardians have been leveraging an interesting strategy mid-combat or boss DPS with exotics like Sanguine Alchemy, where they swap to gear to take advantage of alternate exotic bonuses that better fit the current point in the encounter's flow. This is to maximize their efficiency and output, resulting in pumping out some incredible boss bakes, especially in ultimatum dungeons. While we fully applaud those throughout the community who want to push the needle as far as it can go, we found that this is presenting balance issues where it feels mandatory, and we don't feel the main draw of the exotic should be centered around swap-centric strategies. Sanguine Alchemy. Swapping to this exotic in combat will now apply a 10-second cooldown before the perk can be activated. Side note, I feel like this just means I'm going to swap to Sanguine Alchemy 10 seconds earlier. Lamau, GG, no re. Game devs hate this one weird trick. Much like in the changes to melee stacking in last week's TWID, we want to be able to make exotics that meaningfully change your gameplay, and at current, These types of behavior are constricting how much we can push that bar. The above change is a minor first step that is targeting one exotic during our launch window, but will be taking a larger approach later this year. When this holistic fix is implemented, we will re-examine this change and see if it's still necessary. Featured exotics. Starting with the Edge of Fate, certain exotic armor and weapons will be specially featured, gaining the same benefits as new gear, and will change with each expansion and major update. At the Edge of Fate's launch, 28 exotic weapons and 15 exotic armors for each class will be featured, including all new The Edge of Fate exotic weapons and armor. But don't worry, even if your favorite isn't on the list, you'll still be able to use it almost everywhere you go. Balancing the scale of abilities. Stats and abilities go hand in hand, so it's only fitting that we share the remaining upcoming ability changes coming in The Edge of Fate. If you recall, we spoke about melee tuning and other various ability changes in last week's TWID, so check out that info. We spoke about Prismatic's changes a few weeks ago, but to summarize, it's been a bit too hot since release and has made some challenges trivial, so we're reining it in to be more in line with other subclasses. Warlock, Prismatic, reduced the number of fragment slots provided by the following aspects. Hellion from 3 to 2, Bleak Watcher from 3 to 2. Dev note, the abilities per minute of the Prismatic subclass are very high, so we're pulling a small amount of efficiency out of their engines to achieve a healthier balance of gunplay and ability usage. Looking forward, we'll be working on making sure the Prismatic subclasses feel like they have a variety of great builds. Prismatic/Strand. Weaver's Call can now generate threadlings on any final blow instead of just strand final blows. Dev note, this change will allow for easier threadling generation regardless of your build. Void. Pocket Singularity. Melee. Increased pocket singularity damage versus non-boss combatants by 20%. Increased pocket singularity damage versus boss combatants by 56%. Dev note, pocket singularity was feeling weak compared to other melees, especially given its relatively short range. Titan, Prismatic, reduced the number of fragment slots provided by the following aspect, Consecration from 3 to 2. Solar, Consecration, increased fragment slots provided from 2 to 3. Dev note, we've given Consecration an additional fragment slot on the Solar subclass to put it above its Prismatic counterpart. The pure concentrated Solar subclass should have an edge here. Prismatic and Strand, Drenger's Lash aspect, increased tracking strength of base Suspend Wave and Abiant Leap exotic armor Suspend Wave, increased base Suspend Wave travel distance from 20 meters to 30 meters, increased Abiant Leap Suspend Wave travel distance from 30 meters to 35 meters. Dev note, we've seen community feedback that this ability could use some help, so we've made it more forgiving. Prismatic/Solar, Consecration aspect. Ignition no longer has plus 20% bonus damage. Dev note, we've made this change to match the other ignition damage scaling changes we mentioned in last week's TWID, making ignition damage consistent across the board. Side note, it looks like Consecration is really getting nerfed pretty hard into the Edge of Fate. Sorry, Titan bros. Void, Shield Throw, Melee. Increased projectile tracking strength by 77%. Dev note, this melee can be hard to land in the heat of the moment, so we've made it track enemies more aggressively. Arc, Storm's Keep. Benefits no longer stack when standing behind multiple barricades. Dev note, Storm's Keep stacking resulted in faster than intended bolt charge accrual, so we've limited the number of Storm's Keep barricades a Guardian can benefit from to 1. Alright, quick side note from me. This is a pretty expected change. Storm's Keep right now is extremely good in PvE, borderline mandatory. This definitely will lower the viability a little bit, but overall it will still be a very good aspect going into the Edge of Fate. Hunter, General, Gambler's Dodge. Melee energy return no longer requires dodging near an enemy. Dev note, with the armor stat changes coming in the Edge of Fate, sources of ability energy will now scale based on your ability stats. This includes Gambler's Dodge. Because this ability now requires some stat investment to get a full charge back, we're removing the requirement that you dodge near an enemy for this perk to work. This will make the dodge feel more consistent, returning energy on every dodge instead of only when there are enemies in an invisible circle around the hunter. Prismatic, reduced the number of fragment slots provided by the following aspects. Ascension from 3 to 2, Winter's Shroud from 3 to 2. Prismatic Solar, Gunpowder Gamble aspect. Reduced self-damage from Gunpowder Gamble detonation by 60%. Final blows of all kinds now grant Gunpowder Gamble progress instead of just solar kills. Dev note, blowing yourself up with Gunpowder Gamble is frustrating, so we're significantly reducing the self-damage it does if you're too close to the detonation, and we're making it easier to build stacks. Solar, On Your Mark aspect. Final blows while at 3 stacks of On Your Mark now make you radiant for a short time. Activating your class ability now gives you 1 stack of On Your Mark instead of 3 stacks. Dev note, we think Gunslinger needs more access to Radiant, so we're essentially allowing them to reach a 4th stack of On Your Mark in the form of Radiant. Beyond this, we'll be focusing on further improving Gunslinger's kit in an upcoming release. Arc, Ascension aspect. Ascension can now activate the following perks: Armor mods, Reaper, Powerful Attraction, Outreach, Distribution, Bomber, Dynamo, on the exotics, Hoyle for the class item, and your Falcon's Reserve Overshield. All classes, General, increase damage versus bosses, mini-bosses, and champions by 15% for these grenades. Arc Grenade, Flux Grenade, Arc Bolt Grenade, Flashbang Grenade, and Storm Grenade. Void, Axion Bolt Grenade, Suppressor Grenade, Solar, Firebolt Grenade, Trip Mine Grenade. Kinetic, the Rock Grenade, aka from the Forerunner exotic. All damage types. Ability energy returns from perks and passive regen now scales based on the requisite stat. Void, Devour, reduce Devour heal amount from 200 HP to 140 HP. Dev note, Devour has been far and away the most effective form of healing available, and a full heal on every proc feels excessive. This change will better balance Devour against other healing sources and give more value to back-to-back procs. Strand, Suspend, increased base suspend duration from 5 to 6 seconds. Dev note, to better balance Suspend against other crowd control options, we've increased the duration by 1 second, giving players more time to burn down enemies or prioritize other targets. Stasis Shatter. Stasis Shatter damage now stuns Overload champions instead of unstoppable champions. Dev note, moving forward, we want to make it clear how and when weapons can gain anti-champ capabilities from sources like an artifact or Radiant. Because stacking Stasis slow organically leads to Stasis Shatter, it limited how often we could give slow to certain weapons without auto-solving champion encounters. Overload champions are also harder to deal with than unstoppable champions in general, so more ways to bring down Overload champions feels valuable. Unstoppable champions can still be stunned by 3 other elemental verbs: Blind, Ignition, and Suspend. Side note from Fallout, this is definitely a nerf to the weapon perk Chill Clip, specifically for Riptide, and more recently, the incredibly viable Tanasha's Sidearm. I still think Tanasha will be viable in the Edge of Fate, just a little bit less so. You'll now only be able to deal with Overload champions by default with Chill Clip, rather than Overload and Unstoppable together. Arc, Flux Grenade, significantly reduced base cooldown time. Increased projectile size to make it a bit easier to stick targets. Dev note, we still want Flux Grenade to be a high damage skill shot, but the long cooldown and high accuracy required were too punishing. New rewards pass incoming. It's a new era of D2, and with that comes exciting updates to our seasonal pass model. Much like ye olden times, there will be 4 reward passes available during the Year of Prophecy, and just like before, the cost for these reward passes is being reduced to 1,000 silver. But what we're really excited to announce is that every rank reward will be available to earn day 1. No more having to wait for a new act to launch to unlock more ranks. We've adjusted them to feel more rewarding too. For one, we've refactored some boosts and added new ones, removing some that were determined to be less than desirable. The new boosts offer comprehensive bonuses that apply to a wide range of content, as opposed to narrowly boosting specific season content. Activity Score Boost now provides a 15% score bonus on all portal activities when fully unlocked. Prime Engram Boost increases the possibility of desirable armor and weapon drops from portal activities. Weekly Challenge Boost allows players to complete their various weekly seasonal hub challenges faster, streamlining their access to additional high-value rewards. XP Boost has been refactored to apply a 40% bonus to XP earnings when fully unlocked, along with 20% bonus to Fireteam member XP. Additionally, the total number of XP boost items has been reduced to make space for additional rewards. Secondly, premium track armor rewards have also been reworked so that players will acquire a full set of both PvE and PvP armor, and the free track will offer 5 pieces split between the 2 sets, allowing players to unlock a partial set bonus for each. Thirdly, we took a pass at our reward allocation to ensure that we are providing as much value as possible for all players. The allocation of various free rewards has been increased, and players will be able to acquire more cosmetic rewards within the first 100 ranks of the pass compared to prior season passes. With a return to 4 passes per year, we've reduced the pass ranks down to 110. Why the extra 10, you might ask? Well, they're extra special. While we set out to reduce the overall grind and remove the time gaining introducing during episodes, we still wanted to preserve some aspects of the aspirational progression and chase rewards that our larger season pass provided. These additional 10 ranks are packed with valuable rewards for both free and premium players, require 500,000 XP each to earn and can only be acquired through gameplay. While we have ensured that the first 100 ranks provide more value than ever before, we hope that you also enjoy having additional rewards to chase after achieving rank 100. Basically, at this point in the TWID, Bungie finishes with all the sandbox changing talk. In short, a couple things that I was pretty much expecting to get nerfed, aka things like Storm's Keep, possible chill clip, some things I didn't see coming like Devour, but let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Quick heads up, ring the notification bell because tomorrow I have a video going live about the weapons that I think you need the most before the Edge of Fate. Don't miss that video. Xur will be up on Saturday. Thank you very much for watching. Peace.